What's up, everyone? What's going on? This is part 4 of my series of videos, The Year in Wrestling 1991 Part 4. Coming at you. Before I talk about Halloween Havoc 91 pay-per-view, I'm going to talk about some news stories to come out of the year 1991. September 12th. One of the Von Erichs, Chris Von Erich, Chris Von Erich commits suicide with a 9mm pistol gunshot. Gunshot. He killed himself. Chris Von Erich commits suicide September 12th, 1991. He was 21 years old. Very sad. The Von Erichs and their tragedy, just super depressing and super sad what happened to a lot of the Von Erich brothers. And they're all dead now. The only survivor is Kevin Von Erich. He has 2 sons. And Carrie Von Erich has had a daughter. She's Lacey Von Erich. She was in TNA for a short time. And I'm sure there may be other Von Erich relatives. I don't know who they are. I don't know if the Von Erich's mother, if Kevin Von Erich's mother is still alive. I don't know. But all his brothers died. The only one that did not commit suicide was, I think his name, David Von Erich. The first brother that died because he had stomach problems, I believe, or stomach virus or something like that. So Chris, I think there was a Mike Von Erich, and he committed suicide also. And everybody knows Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, he committed suicide also. So Chris Von Erich, September 12th, commits suicide. That's the only news I got about 91. Now I'll talk about some of the Pro Wrestling Illustrated winners for 1991. If I could find the goddamn page. I'm trying to get this information and find it to read to you all. I appreciate you watching my videos. If you ever have before, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Where the F is this information? God damn it. Here it is. 1991 Wrestler of the Year by Pro Wrestling Illustrated Awards. The Wrestler of the Year for 1991 was Hulk Hogan. Runner-up was Lex Luger. And they both won world titles in 91. Okay, Tag Team of the Year for 91 was Larry Zbyszko and Arn Anderson. Runners-up were the Road Warriors. Match of the Year for 1991 was the Steiner Brothers versus Sting and Lex Luger from Super Brawl. My pick would have been Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior from WrestleMania 7, but they didn't win. Runner-up for Match of the Year was Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect from SummerSlam 91. Feud of the Year was The Ultimate Warrior versus The Undertaker. I know they had a few matches at Madison Square Garden. They had a body bag match. And they probably had another match somewhere else. I don't remember their feud much at all. And if Undertaker, I know they did have a feud. It was very short. And I do not remember it being memorable. So I do not remember much of the Ultimate Warrior versus The Undertaker feud. But they won for Feud of the Year. Runner-up was Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter. Most popular wrestler of the year was Sting. Runner-up was Hulk Hogan. Most hated wrestler of the year was Sergeant Slaughter. That's a very good pick. I agree with that. Runner-up was The Undertaker. Most improved wrestler of the year was Dustin Rhodes. Runner-up was Ron Simmons. Inspirational wrestler of the year for 1991 was The Patriot. Runner-up was Jerry the King Lawler. Rookie of the year was Johnny B. Bad. Runner-up was The Patriot. Comeback of the year did not start till 92, so I'm not going to read that. And that's all the awards that were given out for 1991 and the winners. Now I'm going to talk about Halloween Havoc 91 from WCW. Here it is. It was from Chattanooga, Tennessee. The first match of the pay-per-view was a mess. A real fucking mess. A god-awful mess. It was a Chamber of Horrors match. I believe you had 4 on 4. So 8 guys were in this match. It was 4 on 4, and it was awful. One of the worst gimmick matches. Hell, Chamber of Horrors, one of the worst matches I've ever seen in either WCW or WWF. It was god-awful. I don't blame the talent that was in it, but it was just awful. El Gigante, Sting, and the Steiner brothers defeated Big Van Vader, Diamond Stud, Cactus Jack, and Abdullah the Butcher in the Chamber of Horrors match. It was god-awful. The only thing that was good about it was Cactus Jack bled a lot in it. That was entertaining to see. And Cactus, when Abdullah was put in the electric chair, when the chair came down from the roof of the arena, that was awful. It was stupid. It was idiotic. It should have never happened. But it did happen. And maybe it's a good thing the Chamber of Horrors did happen, so now we can all watch it on the network and laugh at it. And laugh about it now. Because that's what I've done. I watched it back and I laughed my fucking ass off. So Abdullah was put in the chair by Rick Steiner. Rick Steiner put the helmet on Abdullah like he was really going to be electrocuted and murdered on pay-per-view. Yeah, right. We all knew he wasn't going to really be electrocuted. And Abdullah was an old guy. In 1991, I believe he's 50 years old. He's probably 50 in this match. He worked lazy. He was not a wrestler. Abdullah was lazy, and he was a hardcore wrestler. I wouldn't even call him a good hardcore wrestler because he was not. All he did was jab guys with his fork that he hid in his tights. That's all he fucking did was jab people in their forehead with his fork. And later on in his career, I did read a story and hear a story that Abdullah the Butcher gave an independent wrestler, that he actually gave him, what's it called? Some disease. Hepatitis. Abdullah the Butcher gave another wrestler hepatitis. I think it's hepatitis C or some hepatitis type disease he gave him. I think it was from, I don't know if it was from Abdullah's blood, got on the guy or something, or I don't know how Abdullah gave him hepatitis, but he did. And that shit is wrong, to do that to another wrestler that you're working with. You're supposed to protect each other when you're in the ring with another guy. You're not supposed to give him fucking hepatitis C or whatever kind of hepatitis it was. But Abdullah did, because he was a fucking asshole. This happened a couple years ago, I think after 2011 or something. Maybe after 2010. And then New Jack from ECW said in an interview that he was basically talking about Abdullah, and he said Abdullah the Butcher has AIDS. So I don't think New Jack would lie. I don't see New Jack as the type of guy that would make that up. So New Jack went off on Abdullah. That was awesome. And basically said Abdullah has AIDS. And I believe that. Abdullah, I never liked him. And I think he's a jerk off. I think he's a scumbag. And WCW should have never hired him in 91, because he was an old bastard that couldn't do anything but jab a guy with a fork. And when he had a match, all he would do is punch a guy and drop an elbow on a guy. That's all he could fucking do. It's a damn shame that the WWE even put Abdullah in their Hall of Fame. He did not deserve it, because he's a scumbag. He's outside the ring, Abdullah the Butcher. That's what I think of you. I'll move on. Up next, after the Chamber of Horrors and that mess, you had Big Josh and PN News defeat the Creatures. Who were the Creatures? I don't know, and I don't remember. I think they were masked men, and it was awful. Bobby Eaton defeated Terrence Taylor in 16 minutes. This was a good match. It was pretty good. Johnny B. Bad defeated Jimmy Garvin. That was okay, but it was boring also. Television champion for the TV title, Stunning Steve Austin defeated Dustin Rhodes in a draw when the time limit ran out. I think it was 15-minute time limit. They went off 15 minutes, and it was a great match. It was very entertaining, very good match at Halloween Havoc 91 between Steve Austin and Dustin Rhodes. Up next, you had Bill Kazmaier, the world's strongest man, they were calling him. Before WCW hired him, he won a whole bunch of strongman contests. And I guess WCW was impressed by that, and they wanted to hire him. The guy couldn't work for shit. He was awful. He was not a good wrestler at all. Bill Kazmaier defeated Kevin Nash as Oz. Poor Kevin Nash. Van Hammer defeated Doug Summers in 1 minute 13 seconds. That should have not been on the pay-per-view. In the finals of the light heavyweight tournament, Brian Pillman defeated Ricky Morton to win the new WCW Light Heavyweight Championship title belt. So Brian Pillman went into 1992 as the new light heavyweight champion for WCW. Wasn't called the Cruiserweight title until 96. In 91-92, it was called the Light Heavyweight Championship. Up next, you had the WCW Halloween Phantom, who was Rick Rude. After the match, he pulled the mask off. Paulie Dangerously cut an awesome promo on the stage with Medusa. This was right before they were starting the Dangerous Alliance. Paulie cut a great promo. He ripped WCW management. That was awesome. And then Rick Rude was revealed as the Halloween Phantom. And Rick Rude basically cut a promo and called out Sting and said all the little stingers are in trouble because Rick Rude was going to become the new U.S. heavyweight champion. And he did at Clash of Champions 17, as I discussed in my last video, part 3. A lot of matches were on Halloween Havoc 91, and too many matches that were just boring and pointless. Up next, you had the Enforcers, the team of Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, defeat U.S. Tag Team Champions, the Patriots, in the best 2 out of 3 falls match. That was a decent tag team match. Lex Luger then in the main event. This was another good match. Lex Luger, I believe, is 2 out of 3 falls again. The best 2 out of 3 falls. Lex Luger defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Ron Simmons and defeated Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons won the first fall. Lex Luger won the second fall by disqualification, when the referee, Nick Patrick, disqualified Ron Simmons for throwing Lex Luger over the top rope. That was a god-awful idea in WCW in 89 and 90 and 91. That was stupid. I did not like it, and I thought it was stupid as hell. When you throw a guy over the top rope, you get disqualified. That was a dumb idea, whoever came up with that. So Luger wins the second fall. Third fall, Lex Luger wins the third fall with a power driver. So Luger retains and goes into 1992 as the WCW Heavyweight Champion of the world. Up next, I'll talk about WWF Survivor Series 91 from Detroit, Michigan. It was a pretty good show. A lot of Survivor Series elimination tag team matches were on this show. First one was Ric Flair making his WWF pay-per-view wrestling debut. Ric Flair's team was the Mountie, Ted DiBiase, and the Warlord, taking on the team of Rowdy Piper. And Rowdy Piper and Ric Flair feuded for a short time when Flair came in, I believe in October 91. They had a match at Madison Square Garden. It's on one of Ric Flair's DVDs. So, Roddy Piper's team was Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, Virgil, and the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. Who won it? There's a lot of... I'll just read all this stuff. Ric Flair pinned Davey Boy Smith. So, Smith was eliminated. Roddy Piper then pinned the Warlord. The Warlord was gone. Ted DiBiase, Rowdy Piper, Virgil, and Bret Hart were all disqualified for brawling in the ring. And Flair was tossed over the top rope earlier. So Ric Flair and his team were declared the winners, I guess, by disqualification. It was great. I loved seeing Ric Flair come to the WWF. As I said in part 2, I'm a huge Ric Flair fan. I love the guy. Loved his matches. When he came Survivor Series 91, Ric Flair was still in his prime. I believe he's 41, maybe 42 years old. The guy could still go and put on a 5-star match. So I was very excited to see Ric Flair wrestle on Survivor Series 91. And he had the old WCW World title with him. He held it up, and the camera actually blurted it out and would not show it on WWF TV. The next Survivor Series elimination match was Colonel Mustafa, the Berserker, Skinner, and Hercules against the team of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sergeant Slaughter, who was back to being a babyface by Survivor Series time. Kerry Von Erich, Texas Tornado, and Tito Santana was on the team of Hacksaw Jim Duggans. Sergeant Slaughter pinned Colonel Mustafa to eliminate him. Then Tito Santana pinned Hercules. Then Sergeant Slaughter pinned Skinner. And then Jim Duggan pinned the Berserker. So they swept their team. They swept the opponent's team. They won 4-0. The next team elimination tag team match was the Rockers and the Bushwhackers against the Nasty Boys and the Beverly Brothers. Brian Knobbs pinned Luke, and then one of the Beverly Brothers pinned Butch, and then Shawn Michaels pinned one of the Beverly Brothers, and then Brian Knobbs pinned Shawn Michaels, and then Jerry Sags pinned Marty Jannetty. So the Nasty Boys team wins. And during this match, Bobby Heenan was on commentary with Gorilla Monsoon. They were talking a lot about Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. They were hinting at the Rockers breaking up, and Shawn Michaels would break up with Marty Jannetty, I believe in 91 or 92, where Shawn Michaels turned on Marty and super kicked him in the barber shop and threw him through the glass window. I think that was in 91 or early 92. So they were hinting at a turn from either Marty or Shawn at Survivor Series 91, and they did. They decided to turn Shawn Michaels heel, give him a singles push, and that was the right decision because Shawn Michaels was the better rocker, obviously. He was the better member of the team. He was a superstar. So that was the right call. Next team match. Elimination team match. You had the Natural Disasters and Erwin R. Shyster take on the Legion of Doom and the Big Boss Man. IRS pinned the Big Boss Man to kick it off. Then Hawk pinned Typhoon. And then Erwin R. Shyster accidentally hit Typhoon in the face with his briefcase. And so I guess Typhoon was gone after that. Earthquake then escorted Typhoon back to the dressing room and refused to participate in the rest of the match. And after in 92, the Natural Disasters would become baby faces. So they left IRS. And then you had Animal pin IRS to win it. Up next, the main event of Survivor Series 91 was for the WWF Championship. Hulk Hogan was defending against The Undertaker. And this was the 1-year anniversary of The Undertaker debuting in the WWF. He debuted at Survivor Series 1990. This was his 1-year anniversary in the company. And with help from Ric Flair bringing a chair in the ring. I believe the referee was knocked out, I think. anyways, Ric Flair brought the chair in the ring, laid it down in the ring, and The Undertaker tombstoned Hulk Hogan on the chair. Hogan's head never hit the chair, but that was still the point of having the chair in the ring, saying Hogan got tombstoned on the chair, and he was out cold. 1, 2, 3, epic moment for The Undertaker in his young career, winning the WWF Championship from Hulk Hogan. Hogan was unbeatable in his WWF run from 84 to 93. Hogan never lost. The only times I remember the guy losing was against The Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6 and The Undertaker. I don't know if he lost any other matches. Maybe he did by DQ or by countouts, but that was it. So, The Undertaker defeating the legend Hulk Hogan at the time at Survivor Series 91 was a huge deal. Big congrats to The Undertaker. That was pretty shocking to see The Undertaker basically kill Hulk Hogan and beat him for the title. And after this match, they did backstage interviews that were great and very entertaining. Mean Gene did an interview with, I believe, Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper said a lot of great stuff, very entertaining. And then you had Ric Flair come in. Sean Mooney interviewed Ric Flair. Ric Flair went off. He went crazy. He was screaming that Hulkamania was dead. And it was great. It was awesome stuff that Flair and Piper said about the world title match. And then I believe they even tried to interview, I think, The Undertaker with the WWF title, and I don't think of course he wouldn't talk because he didn't talk at the time. I think Paul Bearer talked for him and might have said a few words. I could be wrong. Maybe they didn't interview Paul Bearer or The Undertaker at all. I don't remember really. And before Survivor Series 91, you had them showing a video and package on the feud of Jake the Snake Roberts and the Macho Man. And Jack Tunney basically said Macho Man is reinstated to the WWF after losing a retirement match earlier on in the year at WrestleMania 7. So Macho Man was back, able to compete again in the WWF in the ring. He was coming out of retirement. And they showed Jake the Snake bring out a cobra, a king cobra, real, I'm positive it was a real snake. And he latched it, and the snake latched himself on the arm of the Macho Man, kept biting down, it wouldn't let go, it would not let go. Jake the Snake was even trying to pull the snake off of Randy Savage's arm, and it would not come off. I can't believe they did that storyline and that the WWF got away with it. Back in 91, that took a lot of balls to do that storyline. To have that snake biting down on the Macho Man's arm, that was insane. That was not PG television. And I was a young kid, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I thought it was insane. And I thought for sure that Randy Savage was being poisoned by a king cobra and was going to die. I was scared for Randy Savage as a kid. But that was an awesome storyline to do that snake, that storyline with Jake the Snake having the snake bite and latch onto Randy Savage's arm. That was some great, great stuff back in 91. Survivor Series 91 and SummerSlam 91 were some awesome pay-per-views. Some of my favorites. Now I'll talk about WCW Starrcade 91. And then I'll be done talking about 1991. Starrcade The entire concept, the entire show was tag team battle bold lethal lottery tag team matches. The winners of the 10 tag team matches, yes, they had 10 tag teams. I think something like, I don't know, maybe it was 20 tag teams involved in 10 tag team matches. The winners, 2 guys from each team, would go on to the 2-ring battle royal at the end of the show to become the Battle Bold champion. So Starrcade kicked off, the Lethal Lottery kicked off with Marcus Alexander Bagwell, aka Buff Bagwell. For you people out there that don't know, Marcus Bagwell was tag team partners with Jimmy Garvin. They defeated the team of Michael Hayes and Tracy Smothers. Up next, Steve Austin and Rick Rude were a tag team. They were part of the Dangerous Alliance, and they got put together. Their names got drawn, and they were put together against Big Josh and Van Hammer, and Steve Austin and Rick Rude won. So they went on to the 2-ring battle royal. Ricky Morton and Dustin Rhodes defeated El Gigante and Larry Zbyszko, and El Gigante did not want to be Larry Zbyszko's partner at all. He cost them the match. Bill Kazmaier and Jushin Thunder Liger on its first WCW pay-per-view. This was Jushin Liger's first WCW pay-per-view in the United States, was Starrcade 91. They beat the team of DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, and Mike Graham. The team of Lex Luger and Arn Anderson defeated the team of the Z-Man and Terrence Taylor. Ricky Steamboat and Todd Champion defeated Cactus Jack and Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, and Abdullah the Butcher came out from the locker room and attacked Cactus Jack's partner, Buddy Lee Parker. He beat the hell out of him with a Singapore cane, I guess because he wanted to be Cactus Jack's partner. So Steamboat and Todd Champion beat their team. They beat their opponent's team and went on to the Battle Bold Battle Royal. Sting and his partner Abdullah the Butcher, who Abdullah started attacking Sting because he was a heel and Sting was a babyface, and it was stupid to put them together. But it was a lethal lottery, so I get it. Anyways, Sting and Abdullah defeated Bobby Eaton and Brian Pillman, and during this match, Brian Pillman even started attacking Abdullah because he didn't like him, and he was on the opposite team. So Brian Pillman screwed Bobby Eaton out of winning. The Night Stalker and Rick Steiner were a team. The Night Stalker was Adam Bomb, for anybody that didn't know that. Night Stalker was Adam Bomb, and Rick Steiner defeated Big Van Vader, and Mr. Hughes defeated the Night Stalker and Rick Steiner. Scott Steiner and Firebreaker Chip defeated Johnny B. Bad and Acro-Man, or whatever he was. He was a goddamn ripoff of Spider-Man. He was dressed in yellow and purple, and he looked just like Spider-Man. It was a Spider-Man ripoff because they could not use a Spider-Man name. I guess his name was Acro-Man, or I don't remember his effing name. Doesn't matter what his name was. He was a ripoff of Spider-Man. What was I reading? They won, I think. No, Johnny B. Bad and the ripoff Spider-Man lost to Scott Steiner and Firebreaker Chip. Thomas Rich and Ron Simmons defeated Steve Armstrong and PN News in the final tag team match. The winner of the two-ring battle royal, it came down to Lex Luger, who was a world champion at the time, and Sting. And Sting, the franchise, the face of WCW, defeated Lex Luger to win Battle Bowl and to end Starrcade 91. Then Pyro went off and Sting was celebrating in the ring and he got a great pop, and that was Starrcade 91. It was not very good at all. It was the Battle Bowl Lethal Lottery concept was good, but the matches were not very good and they were too rushed, and a lot of guys teamed up that nobody cared about. The only thing that was good, in my opinion, about Starrcade 91 was Sting at the end winning and going over and being the star at the end of the pay-per-view and the pyro going off. That was the best part of Starrcade 91. That is it for 1991. I'm done doing the year 1991. I'll be back probably Saturday, or I don't know. I think I'm going to do a review, predictions and review video on the WWE Network Japan Beast from the East special. I'll do a predictions and a review on that show on July 4th. I'll do a predictions probably on Thursday before July 4th. And then after the WWE Network July 4th special, I will do a review of the show and what I thought of it and what I liked about it. In part 1 of the Year in Wrestling 1992, I'll probably start that and put it up on my YouTube channel on Saturday. It's that's enough for this video. I'm done talking about 1991. I'll just give you one more thing about 91. Some of the attendance to the pay-per-view events for 91. Here it is. Royal Rumble 91 from Miami drew 16,000 people. Wrestle War 91 from Phoenix, Arizona drew 6,800. WrestleMania 7 drew 15,500. Super Brawl 1 from St. Petersburg, Florida drew 4,887. I won't read. Screw them. I'm saying UWF put on a show. That was a tiny little company, and I'm not going to read their event that they ran because it only drew 500 people. And I guess it was a pay-per-view event called Beach Brawl. SummerSlam from Madison Square Garden drew 20,000 people. Halloween Havoc drew 8,900. Survivor Series from Detroit drew 17,500. And what is this? Tuesday in Texas. I forgot to talk about Tuesday in Texas. There's not much to say about it. The only good things that happened were Randy Savage and Jake the Snake had a one-on-one match. That was cool to watch, because they were feuding at the time. This was after Jake the Snake attacked Randy Savage with the King Cobra. So they had a match at Tuesday in Texas, pay-per-view. And also at Tuesday in Texas, pay-per-view, Ric Flair interfered again and cost The Undertaker, lost the WWF Championship back to Hulk Hogan. And I believe in 92 they would strip Hogan of the title because of the controversial ending to Ric Flair getting involved in the Undertaker Hogan title match at Tuesday in Texas. So the title would be held up and it would be put on the line at the Royal Rumble 1992 event in the Rumble match. First time and only time that the title was on the line for whoever won the Royal Rumble 1992, got the WWF Championship. So Tuesday in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, drew 8,000. And Starrcade in Norfolk, Virginia, drew 7,600. That was the attendance to the big pay-per-views in 1991. If you watched this video, thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate it very much. If you watched any of my other videos, thank you very much. I appreciate it. If you follow me on Twitter, thank you very much. If I tweet back to you and talk to you, or if I ever give you a shout out, that means I appreciate you following me, and you're a friend of mine on Twitter if you ever have gotten a shout out from me. Anyways, thanks for watching. This was part 4 of the year in wrestling 1991. Follow me on Twitter at TNAWWE Guy and at NXT WWE Guy. Bye for now, everybody.